Alright guys, so it seems like it's been quite a while since we've checked out a pair of true wireless earbuds, and even more specifically it seems like it's been a while that we've checked out a pair from SoundPEATS. But today we're going to talk about their brand new Air6 HS, and in my opinion this is a true AirPod alternative that it just has some really impressive features. But let alone, before we even get into that, this pair right now, because it is just released, it does retail for $39, but they have it on sale, and they even sent a coupon code you guys can use, which I'll put in the description, so you can get these for under $30. And this, to even start with, it is high-res certified because it does have LDAC playback. And the reason I say this is an AirPod alternative is it is a stem style earbud that does not use ear tips. So it's the open style where it's meant where you don't have ear tips sealing your ears. You can still hear some of your outside surroundings, but it is the type that does kind of hook into your ear. And it's very sleek looking. It is available in both black and white. The thing that I'm not a huge fan of is it is glossy, but again, this is kind of the same way AirPods are. So I have the black version, and the glossy is going to pick up some fingerprints, but it is low profile. It's very simple, clean. It does use touch controls, and I am happy to say that out of the box you do get control over everything, which is nice. And it's also coming in rated at IPX5, which means it does have some pretty decent water protection. If you're somebody that sweats heavily, or if it rains, or if they get splashed on, they'll be fine. You just don't want to drop this pair into water. And then the case on here is actually a matte finish. It's a pretty small case. I would actually say it's on par with the AirPods. You do have to use a USB-C cable to charge these, which is the only accessory that's included in the box. Obviously there's no ear tips, but with the charging cable, and speaking of the charging, battery life is also very impressive. On a single charge you can get about 9 hours on the earbuds, and with the charging case you can get about 45 hours total. There's also a fast charging feature if you just happen to pick them up, the battery's dead. A 10-minute charge will get you about 3 hours of use. Now this is just using them in their normal mode. I am going to say if you're using them in LDAC, it's going to take quite a hit when it comes to the battery life. So do not expect 9 hours, if you're using them in LDAC. Don't even expect 9 hours if you're going to use them like fully blasted when it comes to the volume either. Now, some of the features, then some of the things that I think make these stand out is it is Bluetooth 6.0, so it does have multi-point connection, so you can connect to more than one device at a time. It does use a very large 13mm dynamic driver, and it's using a triple magnet system. We'll talk about this a little bit more once we get into the sound. And one of the first things you're going to want to do when you're using these is you are going to want to download the PEATS Audio app. This allows you to keep these updated. This is also what allows you to switch them in LDAC mode, or switch it where you want it to connect to more than one device at a time. You'll have some EQ options. There's even spatial audio, which again, I'm going to say it just like I do in every video. I am not a fan of spatial audio, especially when it comes to music. The spatial audio in these, though, is very decent when it comes to movies. It does give you this much more open feel, but when it comes to music, it just has a weird effect that I'm just personally not a huge fan of. But in the app, there is also a Find My Earbuds feature where it will use the specific location to be able to find your earbuds. And again, having that in a pair that's under $30 is kind of crazy. That's something that I normally see in much more expensive earbuds. And then outside of that, if you are going to use these for taking phone calls, it does have 4 microphones total, and it is also using environmental noise canceling to try to block out some of the surrounding noise and just kind of focus in on your voice. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a quick test here. So quick little mic test outdoors using the Air6 HS. I could definitely hear some birds. There's a little bit of wind and a little bit of traffic. But really, this is just to give you an idea of what it would sound like if you were to take a call public. So now let's talk about the sound, and this is what I did not expect. This pair is bold sounding, it is loud, it's very dynamic, especially when it comes to the bass, which is not something that's normal in an open ear style earbud. AirPods, in my opinion, just sound muddy. They don't generally have a very good bass. I was extremely surprised by the bass output that these had. Definitely even kind of has I don't want to say a subwoofer type feel, but it is slightly loose, so it's not trying to be that, extremely tight, quick, feeling like it doesn't have a whole lot of body to it. The sound in these have a really good amount of body. Mids, you can tell, are definitely pushed forward. Felt like male and female vocalists had a pretty upfront approach, and the treble on these can actually get quite bright. Now, it never, in my opinion, got too harsh, but you can tell that because the bass is bumped up, that SoundPEATS said, well, we need to bump up the treble quite a bit too, to try to counterbalance this. But again, the mids were also pushed forward, so I would say this is a pretty aggressive U-shaped tuning. And overall, it worked across all genres. I could go from pop and hip hop to metal to easy listening, and I never felt like these were only good at like one thing. I definitely felt like I could use them across all of these different things. And another thing is, if you do want to use these for movies or gaming, there's also a gaming mode to switch these into so that you can cut down lag. And using these with movies is actually very impressive. Because of the spatial audio, because of the gaming mode, you don't have to worry about lag. You can have a much more open feel, so it kind of feels more natural when you're listening or watching a movie. And so this pair actually has so much going for it that I did not expect, especially in this price range. So my overall opinion, this is pretty simple. Comparing this to the AirPods or the AirPods 4, which is their latest integration of the AirPods, those come in at $129. And if you even compare it to the retail price of these, which is $39, you can get 3 pairs of these for the price of 1 pair of AirPods 4. And it honestly just doesn't make sense because of the features, the battery life, the sound, and everything that you're getting in the Air 6 HS. It's kind of a no-brainer unless you just want the integration with the AirPods in your Apple ecosystem. I do understand that. It's just kind of hard to justify spending, you know, $90 more for something that I don't think is offering a whole lot more than what you can get for $39. Is it perfect? No. Is it going to be for everybody? No, because if you want a flatter sound or more of a neutral sound, there's no way you're going to get that out of here. There's no wireless charging on this case, and there's no smart sensors on the earbuds. The mics on the AirPods, I am going to say, are going to be better than what's on the SoundPEATS. But again, in my opinion, there's not enough there to justify that huge of a price difference. But guys, that wraps up my video on the brand new SoundPEATS Air6 HS. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.